Number 1, a certain sound wave has the equation y equals 24 cosine of 12 pi t. What is the equation with 3 times the frequency and 4 times the intensity? Remember, intensity is amplitude. So we're going to multiply 4 times the amplitude. So 4 times 24 gives me 96. So it's got to either be A or B, so it's not C or D. And 3 times the frequency. I would think then that I would divide by 3, but since frequency is the reciprocal of the period, it then becomes that we actually multiply by 3. So 12 times 3 is 36. So the correct answer is A. Number 2, what is the range? First thing I always do is put my equation in standard form by pulling out that 3. F of x equals 12 times the cosine of 3. I've got to divide both of these by 3 then. X minus pi over 12 minus 3. The range is the y values. So I'm thinking about how high up my curve goes and how far down. So I've got to first think of where the axis is. The axis is at -3. And the amplitude, so this is A, B, C, and D. D gives me the axis. A, the amplitude, means I'm going to go up 12 from the axis, or I'm going to go down 12 from the axis. So I get 9 and -15. So -15 is my lowest, 9 is my highest, which is answer C. What is the period? Again, the first thing I do is I pull that 3 out. So I'm dividing everything by 3. So f of x equals 12 times the cosine. 3 times x minus pi over 12 minus 3. The period is always 2 pi over b. So it's 2 pi over b is 3. So that's my period. 2 pi over 3. A. What is the phase shift? Right, again, pull out that 3. So I'm dividing by 3, dividing by 3. F of x equals 12 times the cosine of 3 times x minus pi over 12 minus 3. Again, A, B, C, and D. This says minus pi over 12, so it must be plus pi over 12 is the actual phase shift, which is B. It says a sine wave can be found using the data for the average temperature for Yuma, Arizona. What is the amplitude? So I'm going to need my calculator here. And I'm going to go to Stat and Edit. And I'm going to need to clear this information out. So in L1, since I go from January to December, that would be months 1 through 12. Then I can enter the data 69.9, 75.2, 80.1, 87.2, 94.7, 104.4, 107.3, 106.1, 101, 90.3, 77.3, and 69. It is a sine wave, so stat and calc. I'm going to arrow down till I get to sine wave. There it is. and the amplitude is the A value. So 18.87. Right. Number 6. What if y equals 3 times sine of 2x plus 4 pi over 3 minus 2? What is y when x equals pi over 3? So I'm going to take this pi over 3 and I'm going to put it right there. So let's see. Y equals 3 times the sine of 2 times pi over 3 plus 4 pi over 3 minus 2. So I'm going to do a little simplifying. 2 pi over 3 plus 4 pi over 3 is 6 pi over 3. And 6 over 3 is just 2. So 3 times the sine of 2 pi minus 2. Well, I know the sine of 2 pi. Remember, on my unit circle, I'll put it over here. 2 pi is right here. 1, 0 is the ordered pair. And that makes this, the sine is the y-coordinate 0. So y equals 3 times sine of 2 pi is 0 minus 2. So 3 times 0 is 0. 0 minus 2 is negative 2. So B is the correct answer. Number 7. Which equation describes a phase shift of pi over 2, a period of 8 pi, an amplitude of 2, and a vertical shift of negative 2? So let's do my A, B, C, and D values. Amplitude is 2. Vertical shift is negative 2. Phase shift is pi over 2, which makes the C value negative pi over 2. And remember that 2 pi over B equals the period, which is 8 pi. 8 pi B equals 2 pi. Since I'm solving for B, I divide by 8 pi on both sides. So B equals 1/4. So when I go to write my equation, y equals 2 times the cosine of 1/4 times x minus pi over 2 minus 2. But when I look, that equation is not there. C looks like it, but it's not the same. It looks like they distributed the 1/4. So I'm going to do that and distribute the 1/4. And I get 1/4 x minus pi over 8 minus 2. Which means my correct answer is D. Right, number 8. What is the amplitude of the graph shown? Right, first it looks like this is here, and this goes to 10. We're going to see here, in the middle, I am assuming that this is 2, and this goes to 10, so this is 8, which means I'd have to go up 4 to 6. Maybe the 6 would be right here. Let's see this 1 second. Right, so if this is 6, it's up 4 to 10 or down 4 to 2, which makes my amplitude 4. Right, next question is number 9. Same thing, we're always going to assume that this right here is 2, which makes this 10. Now we're doing the phase shift of cosine. So let me first draw in, this my 6 would be here, my right here is my peak. And for cosine, That is to the right pi over 2, and they want the actual phase shift, which is positive pi over 2 then. The C value would be negative. Sorry. The C value would be negative, but the actual phase shift is pi over 2. Number 10. What is the period of this graph that is shown? Same graph again. This is 2. That's 10. Let's look here. Let's draw in that. So right around here would be my 6. All right. So I look here. Right here is half of a sine curve. This is half of a pi and 1.5 pi, which means this right here is 2 pi, because a half and 1.5 is 2. So if this curve right here, which is just half of the sine curve, is 2 pi, then the whole thing must have a period that's twice that, which would be 4 pi, because this is 2 pi, which means the other part must be 2 pi, for a total of 4 pi. Now let's do, again, the same graph, and now we're going to focus on the vertical shift. Well, we know that since this is 2 and this is 10, that the axis must be at 6, so the vertical shift is 6. We're not doing 12 or 13 or 14, so let's see if we can get 15 and 16 in now. What is the exact value of 4 pi over 3? Well, I know in my unit circle that my pi over 3 family is 1/2 square root of 3 over 2, and the tangent is the square root of 3. 4 pi over 3 is going to be down here in this quadrant. Sine is the y coordinate, and my y coordinate here would be negative, so it's negative. So this is negative 1/2, negative square root of 3 over 2, and positive square root of 3. My y coordinate is negative square root of 3 over 2. And my last one, number 16, what is the cosine of 7 pi over 4? Okay. I'm going to think about my pi over 4 family, which is right here. Square root of 2 over 2, square root of 2 over 2, and 1. 7 pi over 4, I know this is 3/4 pi, and across from that is 7/4 pi. So this is where my 7 pi over 4 is, and this is my ordered pair there. And the cosine is the x-coordinate, which makes it positive square root of 2 over 2.